One of the things I'm going to show you is what's called a walkthrough. So another thing that we can do to help you visualize and be able to see your design is you can actually walk through the entire house. And what you do there, or how you do it, is we've already talked about the default 3D view. We talked about the camera. Now we're going to do what's called a walkthrough. And the walkthrough, once again, is some time to set up. You can even adjust it and things like that. So I'm going to click on a walkthrough. And then you just really just start clicking in which way you're walking. So I'm going to click and pick a point out here somewhere, and then pick another point here and another point here. Like, let's say I go through the door, and you can actually walk through walls and doors, but that's not very realistic. So let's say I'm just walking through here and I come back out this way through the door. And then let's say I walk over here by the kitchen, looking this way around through the kitchen, and then out the front door. And then let's just say maybe I walk all the way around and then come back in through the back door and right there. And then I click finish walkthrough. Okay. So that's the walkthrough that we generate. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on edit walkthrough up on top. And it's going to take me to, well, I kind of need to open the walkthrough. So there it is. And it gets added as another category. And I go to walkthrough, and that takes me to the little frame or the picture, I guess, of the walkthrough. And then I'm going to change this over to shaded just to make it look a little nice. Or we can try realistic, but it's a walkthrough, so it might be rendering too much. Let's just find out what that looks like. And I'm going to click on edit walkthrough, and I'm going to change this back to frame 0. Okay, and then edit walkthrough again, and then I'm going to press play. So you can kind of see it goes really fast, but just because of the fact that we have a good computer that has really good graphics, that it does this kind of fast. Okay, I'm not an expert at walkthrough, so I might struggle a little bit. I'm trying to remember how to make it slower. I think what we need to do is we need to edit the type of walkthrough. Sorry, I kind of. Oh, and I think it's through here under walkthrough, and we can add total frames. So I think it does everything with 300 frames. Let's say we add more frames and make it 1,000. So now it's just more frames to process. There we go. So that made it a little bit slower. So instead of 300 frames, now it's 1,000. And even this one might be a little bit too fast. But if you go through here, you can actually select the keyframes, and I can take off the uniform speed, and I can make the different keyframes. Some of them accelerate them, make it a little bit slower, make them a little bit faster. I can maybe change the frames per second. This is as far as I'm going to go to show you, because the rest of it I really don't know how to do. I've done a few of the walkthroughs, never really gone that much into detail, other than the fact that I know that it can be done. Probably the only other thing that I'll show you at this point is to go back to the walkthrough. If I can select it. Okay, why can't I select the frame? Okay, not sure where I wasn't letting me select the frame, but I think I figured it out. Now I'm able to select it, but it wasn't letting me right now. If that ever happens to you, I just go over here to walkthrough, right click, show camera, and then it kind of highlights the frame where I can actually select it. But I was looking for this button, because if it's not selected, that button goes away. So just not sure what happened. It's kind of weird. Either show camera or and select it. So I wanted to go to edit walkthrough, because the last thing I wanted to show you is going through the keyframes. The keyframes, it's kind of like not every single frame, but if you go through the keyframes, it's like at these strategic spots. Okay. And what happens is that at those keyframes, what you can do is it's almost like, I guess the way I see it is like if you're walking a little bit more normally. So here, meaning that, let me go back to edit walkthrough, previous keyframe, okay, next keyframe, like here. So that you're not walking through like a robot. At this keyframe, I'm gonna take the steering wheel and look this way. So I'm going to look this way, even though I'm walking in this direction. And then next keyframe, then I guess I can start looking towards the door. Next keyframe here, I might want to maybe start looking towards the center. I don't know. It just makes it a little bit more realistic instead of just feeling like a robot type of thing, where you're just walking and just looking straight instead of the way we naturally walk. Like here, I wouldn't be walking looking this way. I'd probably be looking at this direction. Next keyframe, same thing here. You probably look in the direction that you're going to be walking towards. Maybe start turning this way a little bit. And the next keyframe, and you can, same thing, just kind of like maybe looking in the direction you're going to turn eventually. You're just kind of doing that. And if, unfortunately, sometimes you can go a little too crazy with it, but just having fun with that, like this. And then we try next keyframe again, maybe looking down a little bit, next keyframe, and then that'll walk through like that. So let me see what that feels like. I'm going to go back to frame 0 and then play it. Let's see what that looks like. So now as I look in, I look into the left and I turn this way. See how it feels a little bit more natural instead of walking like a robot. The rest of it I haven't adjusted. So here it looks like you're walking like a robot instead of turning. I don't know, just having fun with it. Let's see how well you guys can do with walkthrough.